Amber, hello. Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to Thursday night tarot chat, metaphysical chat. My name is Sadhana. And tonight, as you can see from the thumbnail and the title, we're going to be talking about a new deck that has arrived, among other things. And I also have a request from one of you regarding shamanic books and references. I've posted several videos about my interest in shamanism and shamanic spreads and so forth. And so I have a couple of books on my table. We'll get to that tonight as well. And I thought I would read you a story tonight. I love story time. I don't know about you, but there is a novel that is associated with the Threadbound Oracle, and I thought I would share a little bit of that. So hi, hello Patrice, Marcella, welcome, Ange. And so grab a cup of tea or whatever you want to drink, get comfortable, and let's just have a chat. So the Threadbound Oracle. First of all, I want to let you know that I have been in touch with Cedar. Cedar McLeod is the creator of the Threadbound Oracle and the Numinous Tarot, which you may be familiar with. And Cedar changed their name recently. There was a beautiful post, formerly known as Noel Arthur Hempel. And there was a beautiful post on their Instagram page, and I was charmed. I was so enamored with the openness, the honesty, the amount of information that was shared. And I was really, really moved. And one of the things that connected with me deeply was the energy that is required in publishing a deck. Not only the artistic creation to start with, everything that comes up in dealing with the Kickstarter campaign, and then the of course receiving and mailing. And this particular project has the novel, the cards, as well as several other pieces. There's a cloth and some other things as well too. And so the whole production of getting everything out to everybody on time in a timely manner is quite draining. And Cedar, in one of their stories, shared about issues with mental health issues. I'm not sure if it was anxiety or just there was also some other aspects of life that needed to be taken care of, and self-care was a priority. And when I see people make self-care a priority, I just want to give a big hurrah. And I had invited Cedar to come and be on my Creator Stories series, but the post-production, it seems, has been quite strenuous, and I hope that I can connect with Cedar in the not too distant future and have a chat after I've been working with the Oracle for a little while as well. Hopefully I will have completed the novel by then and have received my hardcover copy. So I'm really looking forward to that. The pictures on the thumbnail reminded me of the Numinous Tarot. Okay, so now you understand why. Last week we were talking about archetype decks. And when I started to go through the Threadbound, first of all, if you haven't seen a walkthrough already, I want to show you the box. Click. This is the box for the Oracle. It is a piece of art in itself. Look, it's so beautiful. Right? It looks like the library book. You know how you put your name or your textbook at school, and how you put your stamp or your name on the inside. It's just incredibly, incredibly beautiful. You can read the inscription on the back. Yeah, So I was really intrigued when I opened this up. So archetypes last week. When I started to go through the cards, and I want to talk about the little white book and everything else, I was intrigued because it's a real kind of segue to what we were talking about last week. And this is a deck that would work beautifully with everything we were discussing with the archetype cards. Because in this deck, there are 3 mini suits of 7, as well as, hopefully I'll get the number right, 50. Cedar calls them 50 card. No, the deck is 50 cards, 29 story cards. And the 29 story cards fit in really nicely with everything we were discussing with the archetypes last week. And I want to share these with you because it's just a beautiful continuation of our discussion last week. So one thing that I find really interesting, and you could use these as significator cards, or you could allow these to come up in any way. I also want to talk about the suit of tomes in the Numinous Tarot and how books play such an important role in this deck and the Numinous. So this is the protagonist. So this is one of the 29. And this is the antagonist. And I love that the antagonist is upside down with the back facing. Isn't that cool? And there are 3 keywords on each deck. And then, remember we were talking about with Kim Kranz's deck, how there were the self cards and the tools and then the majors. Well, this deck has a similar kind of energy. So we have the Weaver, which is such a beautiful archetype. And it makes me think of Norse mythology. It reminds me of the Weaver Oracle, and it also weaves in the energy of this deck, which is called the Threadbound Oracle, and refers to the threads that bind the book. Here is the healer. This is on matte cardstock. Beautiful. None of the cards are sticking together. The artist. And I hope that some of you, after last week's discussion, embraced your inner artist and did some doodling or coloring in your journals. Hey, Paula. I love it when I say that. It takes me right back to the karaoke bars in Japan when I used to live there. I know you get that all the time. I'm sorry. The author. Isn't this a great archetype to work with? I absolutely love the whole idea of this card, and this card coming up as the keywords are spirituality, devotion, and higher powers, but just the author as archetype. How many of you are fans of, it's not on Netflix anymore, what's it called? I was going to say The Land Before Time. It's not The Land Before Time, but Once Upon a Time. And the archetype of the author is really explored in that miniseries. And I was so excited to see that card. And then we have the companion. Love that choice of word. It reminds me of, well, it's a word that we use in the grief work that I do. So we use it as a verb. We companion people. There's a child card. Cedar's Instagram is at Numinous Spirit, I believe. I put it in the description box below. So if you go in the description box below, it says at, I think it's Numinous Spirit. And the reader. So let your imagination kind of drift. The keywords for reader are interpretation, choice, and agency. But like the author, how could you, like I know exactly how the author would work into a reading, and I haven't really followed through or expanded my thoughts on what the relationship between the reader and the author is, and how that would weave into a story, into a reading. Yeah, I love these cards too. So just think about that, right? So the reader as a tarot reader, of course, but also the reader of books. But what does it mean to be a reader? So I think there's so many possible layers there. We do have a seer card. And then the teacher. And I like what, losing my voice, I like what Corvin said. So I watched Corvin's walkthrough just a couple of hours ago on this deck. And Corvin's comment was, if somebody can just type in Corvin's channel name, it's not coming to my mind, if you know who I'm talking about. The teacher is in a motorized wheelchair, which feels so very, very real, because people who are disabled are so seldom in a motored wheelchair, not in a hand, I don't know what you call it, a wheelchair that you use your hands, your own strength to move, right? We only see that in an emergency situation, not usually in a lifestyle situation. And then there are several cards that really kind of follow that model of the tools or the places. So the archetypes continue with these amazing cards. And just look at this artwork. So here we have the dance in the starlight under the standing stones. Right? Just beautiful. And the end card is connected to the theme of the book. So with the cutting of the thread. Hey there, IT guy. The family. And I love this. I love that the family is multiracial. It's just beautiful. You know, this also reminds me as well too that, and this might seem crazy to you, like, I don't know if any of you have ever noticed, like I have a fairly wide nose. My hair is super curly. Not super curly, it's curly. And just the way that I think and the way that I believe in the connectedness of everyone, I would love to go back. I have no idea how many generations in time, because I know through my past life readings that I'm deeply, deeply connected with Asian culture, and I've lived many, many lifetimes in East Asia. There's been nothing from the African continent, but I have this intuitive feeling that there's some part of my DNA that is connected there. And I don't know, I love. So that's one of the things that this card brings up for me, is that the importance of connection. And so that card coming up in a reading, it has so much power. I love the festival card. So what would you pick up with a festival card? What does festival represent? If you live, oh, hi, Jenna. Jenna, we are discussing a new oracle card and carrying on a conversation from last week where we were talking about archetypes in relation to Kim Kranz's archetype deck as well as Carolyn Meiss's archetype deck. And just looking at the level of the potential of depth with this new deck called the Threadbound Oracle. So what I was going to say was, if you are from a culture where festival is part of the culture, when I was living in Japan, this was very much part of the culture. Everybody knows when the festivals are. Festivals come at predictable times of the year, and it's part of everybody's lifestyle. So if you come from a lifestyle where the festival, or a culture where the festival is part of the lifestyle, it has a particular meaning. But festival is going to bring up different things for different people. And I suppose that's part of working with archetypes, because we have not only do we have the collective, but we have a personal spin on all of these as well too. Look at this gorgeous, it's a ritual card. The Mountain. So Jenna, are you a reader? Do you read cards? Do you play with the tarot? I think I put this on the thumbnail. I love this card. Look at the keywords. I don't know if you can read them. I'll read them to you. So this is a train, and the keywords are transition, travel, and liminal space. Look at the ceiling on the train. It's really something. This also reminds me of the second Alice book. And so when Alice is moving across the chessboard, there's these shifts in the story where Alice is jumping from square to square on the chessboard. And one of those transitions is a train. And I love this metaphor. This is really, really, really cool. And look at this library. So if you look in the concentric circles around the outside, we see the library, we see stacks of books, and then we have this tower in the center with a big oak door. And it almost looks as if that is an elevator perhaps, or I don't know, it's really magical. Really magical. We have a mirror card, which is awesome. Kind of speaks to the Judgment card, among others. And of course, we have a book. That book stand is really beautiful. The knotted wood. One of the things I was looking at was to see if the elements, all the elements were represented. And so I chose 4 cards. These are part of the story cards as well too, to represent the 4 elements. And so we have the flame. It's quite a dynamic card, isn't it? And look at the waters card. Yeah, you guys, make sure you go to Cedar's Instagram and just, I don't know, leave a DM or something, because it's really, it's an amazing, amazing project, or go buy the deck. And then for air, we've got the song. We've got the voice represented here. And what is going on in this? It's almost like a healing, isn't it? That looks, the person lying down has a book on their chest. It does, it almost looks like a healing, a releasing of the voice. Hey there, Apurva. Apurva. And then for earth, we have the garden. But of course, there's lots of other associations with the gardens. And then if you also read Lenormand, there's other layers, of course, that you could build in with those cards. And we also have a moon, stars, and the sun. This is just going to be so amazing to work with the numinous. Or perhaps, you know, I'm thinking other decks as well, too. So these are the 29. Isn't that a great moon card? These are the 29 story cards. And these are the backs, and it's matte, and it is, just going to see if it's the same size as the numinous. It's a little bit tiny. No, it's the same size. Yeah, no, it's the same size. The corners are a little different. No, it looks like exactly the same. Might be the same printer even, just different cardstock. So you can see the numinous is glossy and this one is matte. Okay, I'm going to put that there so I don't get mixed up. And then we have, oh, I'll show you. This is a sticker. And I noticed on Cedar's website, which I linked below, there is a pin which you can purchase, and they're $10 US. And the pins, 100% of the pin value goes to supporting trans souls. What was Cedar's wording? There's a lot of distress, inequity, horrible experiences that are very much a reality of the trans community culture, and the money from the pins goes to support those souls in need of support. And so that's really beautiful. And the pin is the same as the sticker. It's a 3D metal pin. Look at this business card. And this is a bookmark that came. This is the artist card. And then, okay, so then we have the 3 suits. And this is really clever as well, too. We have the suit of thread, the suit of paper, and the suit of ink. And there are 7 cards in each suit. So we have an opportunity in this Oracle deck to look at, to not only have the archetypes built in, but to look at a level of continuity. So if you are looking for a timeline, you're looking for progress, you're looking for development, this Oracle deck has that built in. And so in the suit of paper, we start with pulp, naturally. These are mixed up because I was playing with these. So we have the 1, or is it called the ace? Why is it not here? Sorry. 4, 5, 6, 7, 3, 2. I will have to, oh, there, it must be there. Yes, it's called ace. So the ace of paper is the pulp. The 2 is the page. So the page of paper. And you can see these have keywords as well too. The 3 of paper is the fold. That's a beautiful card. The 4 of paper is the signature. And the 5s, just like the tarot, are all cards of conflict. The 5 of paper is the cut. The 6 of paper is the glue. I love that. And then the 7 of paper is the cover, the book cover. And so this little mini suit progresses through its whole story within a story. It's kind of enchanting. It's kind of enchanting. The Ace of Thread. Doesn't that look like the bells in the suit of bells? The Two of Thread is the twine. Doesn't this almost looks like a Marseille card? Doesn't it? It almost looks like a sword card. So here's a question for you. If we have paper, thread, and ink, which of these, if you want to associate them with an element, you also have that opportunity. Paper, thread, and ink. And so think about that. Which of those suits would you associate with which elements? The Five of Thread, so the card of conflict in the Five of Thread is the needle, pain, shock, and trauma. The Six of Thread is the stitch. So all of the 6 cards are harmonious. Look at that work. That's beautiful. Cedar, you did such an amazing, amazing job. I hope eventually you see this video. Here's the 7, is the tapestry. So we go from stitch to tapestry. Oh, we missed one. This is the 4. This is the loom. Isn't that a pretty card? I think I put that in the thumbnail. The other suit is the ink. So the Ace is the pigment. The 2 is the medium, the 3 is the well, the 4 is the pen, the 5 is the solvent, the 6 is the calligraphy, and the 7 is the illumination. So we go from pigment to illumination. It's just so well thought out. This would be a really good deck for somebody who was struggling with tarot, and you know, they were just starting out with tarot, and the whole tarot thing was a bit overwhelming. This just makes so much sense. And look at all the details on the bottles here on the 4. Love the black feather. Five is the solvent. Oh, that's a good point, Marcella. It could be great for writers when you have a writer's block. I like that. That's really pretty. This also looks a little bit Marseille-esque with the way this is. You know what I mean? It's beautiful. And I love that rich blue. And then the 7 of ink is illumination. So the 7s are all really positive, full, and vibrant. Yeah. The little white book, of course, is beautifully stitched. I wanted to read you just one thing from here. It's really beautifully written. I've always been delighted by complex meta explorations of theme and meaning across media formats. So that's what I've created here. I'm excited to see the interpretations you come up with, the stories you tell, and the inspiration you draw from your own life laid over ones inspired by mine. Whenever someone tells me they've connected with one of my decks, I feel like I've met a member of a community reaching across the world. We may not know each other personally, but there's a kinship of spirit between us all. That strength and support is there for us to tap into if we wish. None of us are truly alone. The core message of the Threadbound Oracle is exactly that. We are all connected, sometimes for good, sometimes for ill. Some bonds grow and others must be cut. When all else fails away, our companionship with each other, ourselves, and the world around us is what will make this life worth living. Cedar McLeod, March 2020. May this deck guide you in telling your own story. So I'm really, really happy with this whole production. It's really something. I'm going to share my screen now. And I want to share with you a little bit from Cedar's book. And Cedar's book is called The Thread That Binds. And I thought I would just read a little bit and you can read along, or you can close your eyes and just listen. Stars twinkle overhead. There's no constellations a waking mind would recognize, but I know them as I know my own heart. They shift on a whim shaped by thought and emotion, seasons of the spirit rather than nature. I make my way through a thicket of tall grasses, glancing upwards every 50 feet or so. The path can change quickly, and one wrong step could whisk me far away from my destination. The easiest way to travel in the dreamscape is to stay still and conjure the place you want to visit with a memory or wish. But some places are hidden too deeply in the subconscious. You have to make the journey on foot. Creatures shuffle through the grass around me unseen. They might be spirits, or they might be figments of my subconscious. I keep my mind clear in case it's the latter, not wanting an encounter to slow me from reaching the garden. I abandoned it years ago, and so it isn't surprising to find the way so overgrown and unkempt. After the grasses, a briar thicket. The canes range from hair-like tendrils to poles as thick as my wrist. The red thorns on them are long, sharp daggers, protection against unwanted visitors. I gaze through the looping briars for the secret tunnel and find it immediately. After all these years, some part of me still remembers. I get down on my hands and knees, imagining myself smaller, younger. The last time I came here, I was 13, big for my age and already 6 feet tall. It had been difficult then. I imagine myself at 9, soft and round and looking for an escape. My spirit body shifts and the briars grow larger. The thorns aren't quite as menacing now, but magical and inviting. I start crawling. The ground beneath my hands is covered in leaf litter and dotted with glowing blue mushrooms. The sky overhead deepens, then grows light as I crawl on. It was always daytime in the garden. I had been afraid of the dark as a child. Nighttime had always come with shouting matches and breaking dishes. By the end of the tunnel, it's nearly dawn. The round portal of the sky before me, edged with thorns, is the color of a ripe peach. Pink rosebuds line the briar canes, gathering energy to bloom. My heart pounds. This is it. This is the edge of the garden I created all those years ago. The one Tabby! Oh no, not yet. Tabby! The dreamscape fades. I open my eyes, staring at the gauzy canopy above in confusion. I was just on my knees. How did I get on my back? I blink and roll over. Something is making an annoying chiming noise. I pull aside the curtain and fumble for my phone on the nightstand to silence the alarm. It says it's been going off for a while, but that's not what woke me up. Ah, there you are, Rhiannon says from the doorway. Sorry, but your alarm was going off for like 10 minutes. You can hear it out there? My voice is still groggy with sleep, and Rhiannon smiles and leans against the door frame, still wearing pajamas himself. My platonic partner is thin and lanky, with brown skin and green eyes. ere long purple hair floats around him in frizzy wisps bedhead. I mean, I can hear it when I walk by your door, and normally I wouldn't wake you up until it's been going on for like 20. But today's kind of important, Rhiannon says, right? Oh, a different kind of alarm goes off inside me. Psychic test day at the Eternal Library is finally here. Yes, right. Thank you, Rhi. Anyway, it's just it's so enchanting. I've read a few of the pages. This, of course, is the PDF, and I will be getting the hard copy of the book, which I will share with you when I get it. I wanted to also show you that this, at the beginning of the PDF, so this is beautiful. There's content warnings, so if you have any issues with any of the aspects of the story that are in the points here, and I imagine these are experiences that the creator themselves experienced. And I love this because this is not part of my culture. And we learn that all of the correct pronouns, which you heard some of them. So in the story, we have these neopronouns that Cedar refers to. And I really appreciate this level of education, because this is not within my realm. So thank you for that. Priest X, gender neutral form of priestess. NT, gender neutral form of aunt and uncle. So isn't that cool? Anyway, I was really excited to share this with you today, and I hope you enjoyed that. You saw the banner rolling across the bottom. I am going to, Jen at Science to Soul Tarot with Jen is going to interview me in about 24 hours. So I will be on her channel tomorrow night, my time, and Saturday morning, her time. And we'll have a little conversation. So I'm excited about that. Marcella, who is in the chat tonight, I believe it was Marcella. If it's not, I'm sorry. One of you lovely people was recently watching or rewatching the shamanic cards video and the shamanic medicine spread video that I did. Sorry, my voice I've been using a lot the last few days. And asked about reference books for shamanism. And I thought I had more. I'm not sure where they are, but these three are on my bookshelf now. And I thought I would just share them with you, and we'd have a look at the table of contents. This one is a really beautiful book. It's they're all quite old. This classic on shamanism pioneered the modern shamanic renaissance. It is the foremost resource and reference on shamanism. I'm reading on the back of the book. Look at the artwork. Isn't that beautiful? I just love the artwork on the front. This is the one that I have. This is the third edition of this book. Copyright 1980-1990 by HarperCollins. And I know sometimes it's helpful if you can see what's in the table of contents. This is a really thorough book. And if you know who Carlos Castaneda is, there is a quote from him on the back as well too. So this is one that I recommend. And I found this one. I'm not even sure that I have read this one. It might belong to one of my daughters. But the one I just showed you and this one is another one that is really beautiful. Now, the teachers that I worked with have, many of them have spent extended period of times with the Caro people, the Caro of Peru. And this author, Joan Parisi Wilcox, also has done that. And I actually have photos and have listened to this particular shaman present. And you can see that there's photos in the center of the book. So these are based on real life experiences. And you can, oh yeah, you can see at the fire ceremony and different things here. This one's called Masters of the Living Energy. And I'll show you what's in the table of contents. So, little longer table of contents in this book. But these two were really beautiful resources on top of everything that I received when I was doing my training. And then there you can see part 3 and part 4. If you're interested in this work, and I just noticed the title of the chapter 3, which is Our Heart's Fire, the Mesa and the Healing. For me, the most challenging part of the work with the shamans is the relationship with fire. And I'm sure each person who enters into this journey has different challenges. But for me, the building my relationship with fire and the demand and the length of the ceremonies at the fire, we would go and start the fires before it was dark, and still be at the fires close to midnight, and then be up the next day, meeting in our circle at, I don't know, 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning, and really intense. And during the fire ceremonies, everybody stands the whole time. There's no sitting around the fire. It's standing and ritual and singing and cleansing of the mesas and so forth. And it's very, very active, and it's so intense. So very, very intense. And then people taking turns to feed and to nourish the fire. So thank you for asking that question. I like it, you know, when you ask questions and you take me back to things that I haven't been connecting with. So now these 2 books are out. I may have to go back and have a look at them. So you're welcome. Marcella, it was you, right? All right. So what I thought that I would do now is to just kind of talk about the tomes. For those of you that have the Numinous, so this is the Numinous Tarot, also by the same creator. And I'm just going to pull out a few of the tomes cards, and I thought we could just kind of talk about this because it's a real, well, we can talk about all of the suits sort of, but there's something about, oh, these are sort of sorted already because I was going to use them in my class yesterday and didn't. There's something about the title of the suits in this deck. And tomes is the suit of Earth, the suit of Pentacles. And there's a deep connection. Obviously, I shouldn't say obviously. What I sense is that books probably have been part of Cedar's healing journey. And there's so much love and connection to the books. And you can tell from the choices of the suits in the Threadbound Oracle how important and how the metaphor of the book has impacted Cedar's life. It's really something to acknowledge. So just in case you're not familiar, the suit of water in this deck is called the suit of vials. And there's an apothecary, and it's a very healing energy. And so the suit of water is very much about the healer. And if you are wanting to bring this deck into and use it with the Threadbound, it's going to be really beautiful. The suit of air is bells. And so this connects to sound and voice. This is quite a clever card. And you can really see in this deck the overlap of the magic and the medicine. And you know how there was that ritual card in the oracle? Well, we have, this is how I feel about the suit of candles. So the suit of fire feels very much like the suit of ritual. I heard somebody say they don't understand this card. This feels like Red Hat Club to me, this one. So this is the suit of fire, the suit of candles. And so I wanted to reflect a little bit on the suit of tomes. And because I think this, perhaps even just pulling out the suit of tomes and incorporating the suit of tomes into readings with the Threadbound Oracle could have some magical qualities. And it may be an opportunity. So the creator of tomes would be the equivalent of the Queen of Tomes. This might be an opportunity to look at this deck in a whole new way and to work with this deck in a whole new way. If you were ever confused by any of the cards in the Threadbound Oracle, if you were ever confused by any of the cards in the Numinous Tarot, I think now, after seeing the Oracle deck, there's going to be so much more clarity and insight into this particular deck. I love this one. Because I've read comments from various different Facebook groups and so forth, how certain people they don't understand the association of the tomes with the suit of pentacles and how limiting it is. But if we think about the books being, you've heard me say this before, that the suit of pentacles really is the most integrated of all of the suits, that there was an idea, there was a thought with the suit of air, and there was some action that was taken in the suit of fire with the rituals, if we want to speak in the language of this deck. And then the ritual had to incubate. So perhaps the ritual had to move, the ritual became the medicine that, marinated isn't the right word, that went into the bottle, the medicine bottle. And so it had to sit and it had to age so that it could have a finer quality. I like that, actually. And then there's something about the books. So all of these teachings, all of these learnings, all of this wisdom has become manifest in the suit of tomes. And if you think about the suit of earth and you think about the suit of pentacles, it's an incredible suit. The quartz are so embodied, and you can see all of the elements integrated in the suit of pentacles. They're all there. They're all contained within. And so there's something really magical about this metaphor, or this archetype of the book, being the overriding archetype for both decks altogether. And Cedar is also coming up with another a round oracle deck. I forget what it's called, but I don't know if that's going to be woven in as well too. So if you are interested in storytelling, if you are interested in working with the tarot as story and allowing your language and your creativity and your insight into symbol and archetype to emerge in your readings, this is really a beautiful way to come at it. And it feels totally accessible, and accessible in ways from a beginner's point of view, accessible from being so inclusive in so many different ways, different, people of color, people of different body sizes, all ages, all races, abilities and disabilities. It's an incredibly inclusive set of decks. So it's yeah, a big thumbs up. Big thumbs up from me. So please let me know, if you've been working with this one for a while, and if this little chat has, sparked your interest in any way. So do you have any questions? Do you have anything that you would like to bring up or seek clarity on in regards to Cedar's work, or working with these kind of decks, or even, there's a lot of distrust also, I feel, among certain readers if you are not reading by the book. So the tarot is meant to be read as a system, either RWS or Thoth or Marseille, and there's a system, and then these creators go and broaden the story and expand the archetypes. And so there is resistance to that. Yeah, and so I'm just wondering what your comfort level is with that. Do you feel compelled? So I guess here's my question. So when you're doing a reading and you get, whether it's for yourself or another, and you are deep in the reading, so the cards are there, and it's like this beautiful aha moment, and you see the story start to emerge, and you start talking, and then you second guess yourself. Oh, well, that's not what this card is about. This is about, and then you go back to what you learned when you first started learning the tarot, and then you kind of doubt yourself. I want to encourage you to stop doing that. To stop doing that, and to really get more playful with your reading, and to understand that all of these stories, all of these archetypes, all of these experiences we share, and they're all out there. And what Pixie created in her art, and what Lady Frida drew in hers, are all part of the same consciousness that we can tap into, as did Cedar. But it's just a different, way in. So let me know, what you think about this, because it is problematic for a lot of people. And I love to discuss this kind of stuff. I would love to draw a card for you. And then I'm going to sign off, because I actually have a reading booked after this. And anyway. Yesterday I got 2 new decks, but I don't want to bury the other deck in this one. I may come back on again tomorrow and show you my other new deck. It's also an oracle deck. Can you all see Angie's comment? It's best to go with your gut feeling and see it intuitively, and not by what's written in the books. If you have never read for other people face to face, that is also an incredible way to, as like practicing with real humans is important, because sometimes those humans on the other side of the table they will chime in and they'll say something. They'll go, oh, I saw that today, or that reminds me of so-and-so. And it will have nothing to do with the book meaning of the card. Nothing at all. These cards shuffle beautifully, by the way, in case you can't tell. And they're not sticking together at all. Okay, so in the energy of story and archetype, I would like to, hey, Ronnie, I would like to formulate a question about that. So, and I'm curious about being more playful and expansive and free and allowing. So how can we best continue to nourish our passion and our playfulness and our trust in story? Something like that. I think you kind of get the gist of my question. Okay. Cold reading a new deck. Here we go. Protagonist. 4 of thread is the loom. And 3 of paper is the fold. Okay. So that's pretty cool that the protagonist card came up. So what that means is, right, you are the creator of the story, and you, me, we can make this whatever we want to make this. And we need to really embrace that. Like I was talking last week, like to go and get the watercolors out of the garage, out of the cupboard, and paint on my journal, and to allow that creative energy to flow. I really, really like that the loom card that came up. I was so intrigued when I saw that in the, I don't even know what the keywords are. I love the bamboo on the side. It's boundaries, community, and responsibility. And so this really amazing keywords. One of the things that I see connected to the protagonist is that we can't do this alone. In order to build story, we have to connect with other people. And if you think of the weave and the warp, is that what it's called? The weave and the warp of the loom. It is really about that, right? It's about the working together and the integration. And we don't get the beautiful tapestry if we don't, well, there's a system, there's a procedure. There can be a variety of textures used, a variety of materials used, but they need to connect with each other. And so this is about you, the protagonist, reaching out and working with the community and building what you want to build through your connections. What was the third card? What was it? 3 of paper is the fold, transformation, learning, and change. So it's like, we are, the braver you are, the more fun you have with this, you are going to affect change. You are going to influence, that I say this sometimes, like you never know how far these ripples are going to go. And by you creating your own story, these ripples are just going to go in all kinds of directions. And it's like when you drop the pebble in the pond, the ripples don't just go in one direction, they go in all directions and below the surface as well too. So there you go. There's your reading. First reading from the Threadbound Oracle. So thank you. Thank you guys all for being here tonight. What is going on? Paula is organizing something. I will I will read the chat back. I'll read your conversation back because I don't really know what you were talking about. But I'm going to see, hopefully, some of you beautiful souls in about 24 hours. I will be on Jen's channel. And that's going to be fun. I have no idea what we're going to talk about, but I'm sure you'll hear a little bit more about my story, my life, things I love, and things like that. So yes, if you have questions for me, maybe write them down and get them ready for tomorrow. And I will see you in Australia. That's going to be fun. So thank you for inviting me, Jen. I really appreciate it. All right. So have fun and reach out to Cedar and let Cedar know what a great deck this is. It's just fabulous. See you guys soon. Namaste.